Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking, and a warm welcome to this week's Walking Wednesday. I have cleared up my camera space, I have charged up my battery. I believe there's absolutely no chance that something will go wrong this time. If you wonder why I'm out of breath, I've just been jogging around a bunch of people, that's why. And also, I don't know, haven't done much in the way today. I haven't just woken up, which already gives me an edge over a few people who made topics about what I'm going to discuss today. You've seen the title. I'm going to talk about LenTotally. Not really because I thought Walking Wednesday would be the best space to do so. I was already working on a video with all of other people actually on the subject, a scripted one that actually provides thoughts in a coherent manner. But considering that we overran this into Wednesday itself, that's what we end up with now. Anyway, oh, forgot. I'm going to talk about what I'm going to do in that most recent video. I'm just looking at the people coming towards me and the cars and the fact that I can't really go anywhere. Thank you. Good thing that the people that were coming to me this time were joggers, and that's why I was able to move away. Well, I mean, no, they were able to move away. There's always some tight spacing that one has to work around if you're trying to keep to social distance and such. Oh well. Oh well, the moon's still out. Don't know if you can... No, oh no, you can see it. Okay, anyway. This is not my video on the subject, this is more of a discussion basically, because it does relate to the week that I've had. Because, yeah, the past 3 days or so, or 2 days really, have been almost exclusively devoted to either stuff that I already had scheduled, like the AFMAU stream, or the LenTotally scandal. So yeah, but on the subject of that video that I'm going to post, just a warning to some people. That video may come off like I'm taking too much of a humoristic approach on what is a very serious subject. That is not the case. In fact, I've made sure to limit any of the jokes that come at Len's expense and made none at the victim's expense. At least to my knowledge. I will probably have to go over that because there's a few retakes I have to do. Most of what I mock in that video is related to people's responses to the matter, because the video is going to be talking about LenTotally. So yeah, my one is actually all about the responses that came almost immediately, and how no one's really talking about it in the right way, which, to be honest, for the gacha community makes perfect sense, because I mean, I was about to say that we've never experienced something on such grander scale before to this matter. I mean, there have been plenty of Minecraft YouTubers and such that have fallen this, so I'm going to change because the people are coming. Yes, there have been plenty of Minecraft YouTubers and such that have had these accusations, a few beauty ones, basically any other genre, but to my knowledge at least, LenTotally is the first gacha tuber that has had such allegations come out against him, and have had those allegations seemingly almost universally confirmed. I mean, there's a lot of fine print to that basically, which we'll get to in our videos. I say we, because one of the people that I've been working with is Miss Devil. And she's got a video that's not about the response, it's actually about the actual subject itself. They're making a whole timeline for everything that happened, basically. And then expressing her opinions at the very end. Whereas I do the opposite. I do my own opinions first and then talk about the responses later. Either way, point is, she's got a very comprehensive list because she was in the right place at the right time for everything that went down. And seemingly has got everything going right so far. I mean, I've been looking at the script, so unless there's some sort of like radical change or something like that, then I believe that it's a good script and is actually the best compendium for everything that has gone down. And I believe she's still updating that because there's still responses that are happening. That's the other thing about our videos, that they are going to be progressively updating. And that's because, obviously, we started making them on the day that everything happened. Well, no, the day after, because it sort of happened like towards the night time for most people. So, yeah, the day after. So February 22nd, we were working on these. Then on February 23rd, there were a couple of other things that would have been great to add to our videos, especially mine. There's some girl that's made a couple of responses to do with like the Christian aspect of it and forgiving Len and such, which of course, you know, Aiden has very wisely compared her to as the girl defined of gacha. And to be honest, considering what I know about girl defined, that seems fairly accurate. I would have also probably gone with Paul and Morgan, but that too, you know, general same ballpark. Okay, speaking of ballpark, I'm heading towards the rec area again. See if I make a detour. That lorry seemed like it was about to start. Okay, yeah, so those are two things to bear in mind. I might provide some more updates and such, but yeah, I've got 16.5 minutes of content there, and it's basically I'm making it sort of a video essay format, which I've been talking about in class. Actually, that's another thing that happened this week. We talked about the essay and the art of the essay, essentially, as a form of writing, so part of the creative writing course. So yeah, in terms of a video essay, it does seem like that's somewhat in the radar. Also, the other person that we worked with, it was myself, Miss Devil, Gacha Apex, Enderbest, and then we also added another YouTuber outside of the Gacha community by the name of Dr. Demonic. So he's actually already made his video, so it may come off as a little bit rushed if you actually do watch that, but if you look up LenTotally Exposed, last time I checked, it's now the first search result above the video that started all the allegations in the first place. So it's not hard to find if anyone is so inclined. That rhymed. But yeah, Dr. Demonic's video is a little bit different because of course he's looking at it from an outside perspective, because all the videos up until that point were from gacha tubers, because obviously it's a gacha community thing. We're going to hear about it first because, you know, Len pretty much, you know, was one of the idols in this instance. I've realized that they're now called gacha idols. He's also, as far as I know, still to this day the first preset in the entirety of the Team Gacha Tubers in Gacha Club, which I'm expecting some sort of update sometime soon that's going to remove him if necessary. I don't know. Miss Devil seems to think that Lunime might actually come out and try and deflect some of the heat that he's going under. Ironic that I've used the word heat when it comes to something gacha. Yikes. Perhaps I should have phrased that a little bit better, but that's the point that I'm trying to get across in the other video, that people don't phrase their points ideally sometimes, especially when they make points that they've just woken up or something and they've just typed something on the computer, made a few screenshots. Most of what they say in the captions is misspelt, has poor punctuation because, you know, gacha tubers, that's what happens. And it just comes across as, yes, these are like initial reactions, but when it comes to a subject as delicate as this, initial reactions don't quite cut it, at least not usually. And yeah, that's something that I'm going to go into much more detail about, because there are quite a few of those. Everyone seems to come to the same conclusion, because the conclusion is very evident, you know, that we're disappointed in Len, and that this should not have happened. And yeah, and a couple of times they talk about how much encouragement he would have got, which may or may not come into like a victim blaming agenda if one is not careful about how they approach it. But yeah, just basically like how much involvement the anonymous victim had in all the situations, and how apparently the whole traumatized outcome is something that I don't quite understand as to how they came to that conclusion. The only way that I see this, actually, and the way that I believe is what is like the most likely. I'm not going to, theorize as to who the victim actually is, because there's plenty of people doing that already, and that's also a disgusting approach, because in this kind of situation, when someone has been groomed online, you do not want to identify them if they themselves do not want to be identified. That's common sense. Or at least I would have hoped so, because it's not common sense for everyone. There's a few people, again, who've made video responses that seem to think that that's okay. And I don't know, kind of like, I'm not even going to say the names of people have thrown about. That's still awful. But yeah, the point is that the one thing that I think can be theorized about is that this channel that came out, LenTotally Exposed, was made just specifically for this. It was then reposted on Suki Online's Discord server, then it got shared around, blah, 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 blah. I believe that the one thing that we can speculate about is that the only way that this person would know that the victim was traumatized was either their friends of the victim and they were told about it, or the channel was made by the victim themselves. And this was the first that got approached. But actually, now I say that out loud, it seems unlikely, because the victim apparently forgave Len for all the transgressions. Which, to be honest, I've seen happen a few times. I've known people that have been groomed before, and sometimes they say that everyone makes mistakes, and it's all forgiven because they didn't realize what they were doing, what impact they were having, and which I disagree with, because people should realize that kind of thing. I would dare say that it should be fairly obvious. I don't think I'm of an old soul mindset, in the sense that people can basically choose not to solicit pictures of people online. People can also choose not to send them, but again, due to pressure and such, that's a more delicate subject. But yeah, I remember, when I was in secondary school, in 2013, we were still having like conversations about people sending naked pictures of themselves online and such like that. And the whole idea of sending news was already taken off by that point. And that's already a shocking concept to think about. But yeah, at the time I thought, wow, who on earth would... Why is this like a culture thing? Why do people send them? Why do people solicit them, especially? I mean, I get the whole idea of like... When I think about it logically, it's a way of connecting to somebody. So if you're talking to someone long distance and you want some sort of like physical intimacy with them, there's not really that many ways around of how to do that. So in my mind, that's why this has become such a cultural thing. Doesn't mean it's still not an entirely risky business to do, but and of course it leads to trauma in some cases. Whether or not it did this time, again, is still up to debate, because the validity of that first video is still in question. But it is a point of curiosity, point of contention in this scenario. I don't know. Only in the 21st century, of course. Again, if people figure out why this is that kind of thing, I think. But as I was saying before, I've known people that have fallen prey to this before. Never more appropriately said, because, of course, that turns the person into a predator. And yeah, actually, there was a particular scenario. I'm not going to name either the predator or the victim in this instance, but there was actually a situation that happened within the department of Buttercore itself, my own production company. Again, I'm not going to elaborate the details on it. And if you don't know the person in question, don't assume who it is, because chances are you're wrong, unless you've been told specifically who it is. This, by the way, I'm referring to the predator, not the victim. Don't even think about the victim. But yeah, so this actually got addressed. The predator actually already left the company by the time it all came out, and then eventually they actually played up the victim card, surprisingly, which people have got to hand to Len he has not actually done. He has, in his own words, taken full responsibility. I mean, that's, in practice he is not, but that's another subject. But yeah, the scenario was that basically the same. I believe that both people in this instance were underage, so in terms of legality, that's not quite as not quite as bad, but still just as equally amoral. Then the Predator, when we talked about this, when it came out, did confirm it, but you know, he then started like going, "Oh, I thought you would understand. I made a mistake. It was a moment of weakness. Blah 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 blah. I thought we were friends. I'm gonna commit suicide. Blah blah blah." When he said "I'm gonna commit," but it was pretty obvious what he meant. So yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I've always said that 99.9% of Discord suicides and declarations are fake. As again, I learned from the Purple Heart 13 scandal, my own personal drama in the gacha community from 2018. So that's something that I learned from there, and as a philosophy that I have maintained ever since. Okay, which way should I go now? This way. I'm going to start to loop back around. Yeah, so that's something that I learned from there. So I didn't believe a word from the guy. I mean, at this point, his whole credibility was basically shattered with me in the first place. If he really thought that he was in a far worse scenario than the victim herself was, then that's really on him. Well, everything's on him, basically. So yeah, again, very similar scenario, and the victim herself is of a similar age to the alleged victim in the LenTotally situation. So again, speaking for someone who's seen this kind of thing go down before, I've realised now how it's come to this, because people are still debating why did it take so long for this person to come out about it. Where's like, I don't know, where's like the more specific details or something. I mean, to be honest, Dr. Demonic read out the screen captions. He was the first person to do so, actually, and read out the screen captions that people took from Len's Discord conversations with the victim that led to the whole situation in the first place. He was the first one to read those out, so he yeah, to be honest, I don't want that many more details about it. A proof of age would be nice, obviously, because we're at the stage where people are either debating whether the person's 14 or not, and it's all like speculation. I mean, Dr. Demonic makes some good points that this probably is all true, and that the victim is indeed 14, just based on the fact that Len was the first person to mention child grooming in any capacity. At least to our knowledge anyway. Maybe he saw someone else post about that and talk about this situation. But it does seem very suspicious, and Dr. Demonic makes a good point about that. But it is still a hypothesis. It is still speculative. And I've always said this, there's one iota of doubt that could be cast upon the situation, then it should basically be listened to. But no, Len has been subject to a witch hunt that has now gone on for a few days and has ended in the girl defined of gacha seemingly making a video. And I'm sure this will continue. I mean, I think all of the like raw responses are out by now, because that's just how it works. The gacha community is notoriously very fast in their response to a lot of these subjects, because they're used to posting memes very quickly and in quick succession with each other, and then getting hundreds of thousands of views for it. So yeah, it does depend. I don't know, but yeah, in this instance, being fast is also synonymous with being reckless, and we don't want that. Basically, if I'm talking about random thoughts that I have now, it's after 2 days of reflection, basically, almost 3 by now. So I guess I have a lot of time to formulate opinions, discuss scripts with all those people that I mentioned before, and go on from there. And hopefully, once we actually get those videos out, then you'll see at least what our responses were on February 22nd, if not a couple of updates that came later. It will all depend. I don't know how well produced they will be, but that all remains to be seen. And hopefully you'll take the slightly lighter tone that I approached my response to responses video about, and accept it for what it is. I mean, I'm hoping. If I go too far, please obviously tell me, leave a dislike, comment about it. Obviously, you know, I'm not about to delete a comment, delete comments or delete videos on a subject because it's only had like a bunch of backlash or something, or information comes out. Because who would do that? Imagine trying to cover your tracks that much and not realizing it's going to backfire on you. Well, who on earth would try that? But for the time being, please leave a like or dislike because your opinion matters. If you want, go watch Dr. Demonic's video, watch Miss Devil's video when it comes out, and obviously watch my video when that comes out too. All of those good things, and if you have any more information, then also let me know. I do mention in the other video that there's a lot of people talking about this being Len's second chance. I just got to the outro, but I'm gonna carry on. And the fact that there was allegations before that came out of somebody accusing him before. This was like a public accusation, apparently, because according to a comment, Senpai Wolfie accused Len before, but it never actually went any further. I say the name because this was, again, a public address. So this is something that came out publicly. Otherwise, I wouldn't mention names at all. But yeah, that's all I've seen. No one's really talking about that part. So if anyone wants to add to this situation, please can I see some sort of reminder of when this happened before? Because I never followed LenTotally. I watched 2 of his videos in the past about the Gacha Online Roblox place and such. So I don't really know what's so I don't really know much about the situation that came before, which is again why I haven't commented on it until now. So yeah, if anyone knows about that, please specify or make a video or something. Do a timeline like Miss Devil's gonna do. If you have information, please share it, because this is something that's being brought up quite a lot, and people can't draw proper conclusions until that's actually solved. But yeah, okay, for real this time, please leave a like or dislike because your opinion matters. Subscribe if you've not done so already, and on that note, until next time, farewell.